I had no time at all without alcohol, no 3 weeks. It was daily. And every day it was to the point of blackout.
Thought it's not too bad drinking, only drinking at weekends on my days off. But it didn't end up that way. I was drinking 20 odd cans a day.
The group of lads that I knocked about with were, varied in age and what have you. But I was just willing to give anything a go to fit in.
Once I got old enough to get my own alcohol, I didn't have to get it in a group with like loads of other people chipping in. I could just get it on my own, and I sort of like isolated and drank on my own. And then I got quite ill. It got me pancreatitis when I was 27.
Didn't know I had a problem at first until, I lost my marriage with it. I lost everything with it, really. But it didn't stop.
I first became aware that I had a problem when started already. My son was 7 and I was arrested for being over the limit in charge of children.
One of my sons said, when I came in at night time, if I was lucky, my mum would be passed out in the chair. If I was unlucky, she would be awake. I'd had my daughter quite young as well. I got pregnant with Chelsea at 17.
I had my son when I was 21. I was in a bad relationship in Scotland. I come back home, and from then on, all I've done is try to mask them feelings with drink and drugs.
And I went through a bad experience with her father, down the heroin route and other things he was experimenting with. He introduced me to ease and amphetamine and things like that when we were clubbing. And with her dad, it went very dark very quick.
And to feed my habit as a working girl on the streets, shoplifted, is in and out of rehabs for years, on scripts, off scripts.
I just had to leave. I had to get Chelsea and leave. I knew if I was to stay, then one of us were going to die.
I just couldn't do no more. I knew I was going to end up dead, murdered or overdosing on heroin because I started to inject then.
It was the depression that got me. The depression got me, and it was in the end of last year. I'd just lost another job, and I tried to commit suicide. I tried to take an overdose.
I decided I'd had enough and tried to kill myself, basically, because I didn't want to put my family through what I was putting them through anymore.
I worked a lot, but I also played hard. I'd finish work and go to the pub and leave the wife with the kids.
I was I'd fallen asleep in front garden with cans of special brew. And every week I was going shopping, but I never got past first pub. And then I got out it sold the day after. And I used to think, well, she'll let me take the money.
That winter, we were living in a house and I'd used all the money for the electric, the gas. We had no food in the cupboards, everything, and we had a 4-year-old child, I think he was at the time. And it was just an awful situation.
I never thought it was wrong with that, but that's like your children and your partner. That is bad.
So yeah, I decided to finish myself off, but it luckily didn't work. And my wife said to me, right, either sort yourself out or I'm leaving you.
She got fed up in the end and left me. Till the kids went to America. And they got killed in an house fire. And that sent me down a spiral of eating a bottle. I didn't care. I sold my business, got rid of the house, got rid of the big flat car, and just spent it in the pub. I started drinking about 30 years ago. I was playing in bands at the time, so there was always drink and drugs, other substances as well.
I found my way onto Blackpool Promenade, and from there. It was just like a whirlwind. I don't know where
where 10, 15 years went, but it went.
It got to a stage I didn't care anymore. I thought this is life, this is how it's going to be, this is how it's going to carry on. Until I finished up ill, really ill.
I got asked if I'd heard of Horizon on Dixon Road, and I went no. So an appointment there, I went in through the door, sat down, and a lady said, "Hiya, what drugs did you use? How did you use them?" Blah, blah, blah. And a guy come and sat down next to me. I remember it as clear as day. He said, "My name's so-and-so, I've been off drugs, I've been off this for so many years, this for so many years. What do you want?" I just cried. I pointed at him and said, "I want to be like you."
Doing the DEAP programme has helped clarify a lot of things, going through therapy and realising it's not just the drink and drugs that are the problem, it's me.
One of the big things was the brutal honesty of the counsellors and of the people that I was in the group with. Something I was told, and I began to realise myself, which was true, that I was wrapped up in this self-pity, feel sorry for me. And it's very honest, and you give an honest feedback, and you don't always like the feedback.
The first couple of weeks, it were easy, then it started getting harder. And then when I did my reading about my mum, that was the hardest part.
I said to Angie, I said, "I'm not doing it. Did you have to go through it?" I went, "No, I've lived through it all, and why do I want to talk about it again? Why do I want to have to write it down?" Once I got it out, there were a lot of tears, don't get me wrong. But that was a major thing for me. It's a life story. It gets you going. Once you start talking, I think you're all right. But bottling it up, it's just not going to work.
The most important piece of work when I was in DEAP was the letter from my eldest son. Growing up, he was always very sure of himself, one of the lads, very good at sport. And in the letter, he put how he used to cry himself to sleep at night, which astonished me. He also said he always used to ask the question, why my mum? Why mine? My friends don't have a mum like this. I wish my mum could be like other people's mums.
I think the most significant part was dealing with my guilt for what I'd done to my son, and realising that if I carry on the way I was feeling guilty, it's not going to change anything. I had to forgive myself, or for Josh to forgive me as well. When I read that letter and some of the things that Josh remembered in detail, that cut me deep, because I wasn't aware of how much he really did know. And to hear him, 13-year-old, he took the time to sit there and write that letter for me and for him on his own. I was just really proud of him. I was hurt by what he wrote, but I done that. But I was so proud of him to be able to sit down and write that letter. I think he's the bravest boy ever to do that. Yeah.
The letter from my wife, yeah. Yeah, again, sort of going back to what I just said a minute ago about the selfishness. In all that letter, because that letter's designed for them to express to us the way that they feel. And in that letter, she never mentioned herself once, and not even my child. She just mentioned how much she loved me, and she wanted me to get help. It hurt so much because it was an opportunity for her to tell me how I'd hurt her, how I'd failed her, how I'd failed my child, and that's what I wanted to hear. The addict inside of me wanted to hear how bad I was. But in actual fact, there was none of that. It was just how much she cared for me, how much my son needed me, and they were there waiting for me, really.
My mum
a grief letter for everyone. Brilliant. Did a grief letter. She died last year, but I was on drugs. And it's her anniversary last week. And I had to write a letter. I cried writing it out. And I had to read it out in the room. How she smelled, how she looked, how her hair was. It was amazing. It's helped me. It helped me a lot. Oh, it has. These are happy tears, these are not like, feel sorry for me. I was drugged up, alcohol tears. She's in my heart, my mum. I'm on my shoulder. Every day I talk to her. And I've come out better person than I went in, a lot better. I don't even want to be like I was. I want to be like I am now, getting stronger and stronger. And yeah, my mum will be proud of me now. She is.
And we did a what was it called now? An exercise called the Inner Child. We did that, and it's imagine yourself as a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 15-year-old. And what would you say to him? And then you start to think, well, what if you put yourself through and imagine yourself as a little child and sort of like objectively, you know, advise this person. I'd never put a kid through that, but I put myself through that. Do you know what I mean? I've got a young nephew called Connor who's 17 months old, right? And I love that little. Honestly, he's my favourite person in the world, right? And that's who I was thinking of when I thought of myself as a little kid. I thought of my nephew Connor, and I'd never do anything to hurt Connor. I'd never dream of it. But I was putting myself through that. Do you know what I mean? I was putting myself through all that shite, and it was just horrible. Just, you know, I'd never thought of it like that before. No.
The mirror. That was hard. Basically, you pick a mirror up and you look at yourself, but it's not just like looking at yourself. You'd have a wash or whatever and dry your face, or have a shave, or do your bonnet or whatever, you know. It was like the therapist sort of like, he'd be speaking at the side of you, and you'd sort of like go past the external and you're sort of like looking at the inside of yourself, if anybody can understand that. And I found it was hard. It was hard. Taking a proper, real look. It took me 5 minutes to look in the mirror. I had it there, and I could see myself there, but I wasn't prepared to do the proper deep, having a look at myself. I did it in the end, though.
What did you see?
A lost little boy. A lost little boy who just didn't have a clue about anything, but portrayed that he was a big wannabe, one of the lads, had everything going on for himself, or thought he had. All he wanted was just what I had, but I turned my back on, which was my family there, to just put their arms around me and tell me I was part of that.
I'd say DEAP is a way out. Definitely a way out. Because I've tried different rehabs, different ways of and they've not worked, but DEAP is definitely a way out.
I was frightened of showing them emotions, but today I'm not frightened of showing them emotions because it's real, and DEAP taught me that. DEAP taught me how to be real.
If you want to get hold of life and get it by the scrawnies, go to DEAP, pre-DEAP and DEAP. Because it'll make you get in touch with you, not the pint-swilling person, but in touch with yourself.
The biggest selling point to me would be it's an opportunity to sit with like-minded people that are interested in you, and you can say exactly what you want. You won't be judged. You tell the honest truth. There's no sort of repercussions, and you can just let it all out. And that's what helped me.
It worked for me, and I'm not strong, but I know how far I went for my drugs. I know how many times a day I was ringing up dealers. I know how to drive, and if I could put that effort into trying to kill myself, I can put that effort into getting better, and I'm doing that.
I really hated myself, and I really didn't think I deserved to be happy or to love myself at all. And from deep, the biggest thing for me, if I'm loving myself and caring for myself first, people around me will benefit from that, like my son, Josh.
I was in addiction for over 30 years, and when I look back now, I didn't have a life. I thought I did, but I didn't. I didn't have anything. And you might think it's going to be hard, but it's definitely worth it, and you're worth it. And the life after is amazing. You can be just so much of a different person.
I kind of live for today. I don't worry about what I've done in the past, and I've also been able to let that go. I'm not making excuses anymore, and I'm not living my life in almost an apology to people. And I'm living kind of for today and what is important for today, because life's too short.
Because I spent that much time sort of like being so self-destructive. Now I can actually make something out of it. I can turn it around a little bit. You know, there's a little bit of redemption there for me. If I can use my example to help somebody else who's possibly going to go down the same path and maybe stop them from doing that, then that's yeah, I'm all for it.
You know, a lot of blame since a kid. You know, no matter what I came up against, I always had somebody else to blame, and it was always my close ones, my family, and they don't deserve it. You know. Luckily, I'm building that relationship back up with my mum.
Positive about my life now is staying sober, staying clean, and keeping busy, and by going to college and all that, keep my mind occupied.
There's no straight road. Like I say, it's a long, awkward journey, but you've got to focus on destination, haven't you, really? And then, you know, once you've got that in your head, you know where you're going. If you stumble about, you know, at least you can pick yourself up and carry on. Like I say, it hasn't been an easy journey, but I've achieved something, you know. I've come away, I've achieved a lot, got myself straight, and now it's just a case of moving on and building up again. So I'm not getting any younger, so I don't want to be going back there. You know, that's it.
Thank you to Steve and Angela and everybody who's in DEAP and pre-DEAP with me.
I'd like to say thank you, big thank you to all the Horizon staff, is Sean, Carl, Joe, Stan, Darren, Steve B, Angie.
I just want to say a massive thank you to Angela and Steve for helping me get through that DEAP programme.
Steve and Ange for, you know, being the facilitators there and for getting out of me what you have.
I would like to thank Darren, Angela and Steve for all the help that you gave me.
I also want to say thank you to Angela and Steve. As I've said to you personally, you honestly both have saved my life.
To Ange and Steve, because we didn't get off on me and Steve didn't get off on a good start. But after a while, I started to understand what was going on. Steve, I hated him at first, because he got really in your head. But I know he was doing it for me. And I'd like to thank him and Angela, because they're not there for themselves, they're there for the people who want to get better.
I'd like to say thank you to Angie and Steve and Stan and Joe and Danny.
Foremost, I'd like to thank the counsellors on the DEAP programme that work specifically with me, who are Angela and Steve.
So I'd like to thank Steve and Angela and all my peers that were in my DEAP group with me. Couldn't have done it without you, and thank you for the support.
Everyone involved, really, everyone at Horizon, they've been brilliant with me. And I have been hard work. I've been easy to get on with.
And I'd like to always say thank you to all the friends in DEAP who all were with, and we all stuck by one another.
And my friend Charlie at home, well, he's the only place I go to. Him and his wife have been brilliant with me.
And also, Jessica and Liam and everybody for believing in me and listening.
And JFH, Shuey and Clint, you know, made me realise a lot in a short space of time. I want to thank you for the opportunity you give me.
To my mum and dad, to my brother and to my sister.
My mum, you've always been there even though I thought you turned your back on me. You were off living your own life and forgot about me. I genuinely thank you for sticking by me. You've had every opportunity to say I've had enough and you haven't.
And also, Mum, I know you're looking down at me, on me. You're still in me, on my shoulder. And I love you, and thanks for guiding me.
I'd like to thank my children for being my rock. They always have been there, and they've always been my rock, and they continue to be so.
I would also like to say sorry to my children, Nicholas, Alexandra and Samuel. I'm so sorry for the years you had to put up with me.
I really want to say thank you to my wife and to Ruben, Chantal and Ruben, for sticking by me while I went through that horrible phase of my life.
Josh, I'd like to apologise to you for everything that I've put you through. And thank you for sticking by me and giving me chance after chance. I know this is our last chance. You've been an absolute star, amazing, strong little boy. And we've got many happy times to come, and I love you so much.
And Chelsea, I love you loads. Thank you for giving me another shot. I'm not going to let you down. Thank you.